Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure in the last third of the show, shall we say, roughly divided in thirds, to welcome, after too long an absence in the studio, two great friends of mine. I have the highest respect and esteem for them. Ladies first, and a great devotee of the Zydeco arts,
Yes.
but that's beside the point. Her
yeah.
name is Shelene Bridge. She's an editor, film editor, a motion graphics designer, and probably most important in my mind, an educator.
Yeah.
And our other guest, a longtime friend, I haven't seen him in way too long, Liam Lockhart. He's an actor, a theater professional here in Santa Fe and beyond, a film raconteur and expert. I've sat in on many of his classes here at the community college when talking about the finer nuances of film, and more importantly, as I said with Shelene, an educator. I want to welcome you both to Cinemascope.
Thank you, Stu.
There has been too much water under the bridge. We will jump right into it.
Yeah.
Speaking of water under the bridge, you were both, as I said, educators, most recently at the Santa Fe University of Art and Design.
Alas. You know the story of that all too well.
Yes, everybody knows that, but I want to segue on the heels of, shall we say, the death of that university. You have brought new life, eternal life, if you will, in the form of a film. I'm going to turn it over to you. What is this concept, and what are we talking about today? It's a film.
Yeah, it's a film. Liam?
Wow. Well, Stu, in all honesty, it actually came about before we had any idea that the school was going to finally close.
No.
In January of last year, I announced that I thought it was time that we pool our resources and we start turning out feature films.
Wow.
On a yearly basis.
Absolutely. And we should still, anyway, somehow.
I think so. And then, of course, as we all know, at the end of March, the death knell rang.
Yeah.
But we still had a small contingent of students remaining, and I was
Bless their
determined
hearts.
to give them something beyond just their degree. I
Good.
really wanted to send them out into the world with a credit on what will hopefully be a distributed feature film.
Whoa, really?
Well,
exciting.
We're keeping our fingers crossed, Stu. We're actually, we've got it submitted to, I think at last count, 10 festivals at the moment.
Great.
Won't be hearing back from any of them until early December. And I think this is rather ambitious because actually we're still looking for completion funds to give it the final polish, if you will.
The residents of Santa Fe and New Mexico are a generous population. Folks,
Yes.
if you're listening and you want to be on the ground floor. Now, we're keeping this kind of under wraps to this point in the interview. What can we divulge about this project?
Shelene, would
Oh
you
my
like
goodness. Let's see.
And what was the inspiration? What you said this was even
that's
before the
Liam's,
university.
Right. Well, the project itself
Yes.
was initiated before the news, but then the story of our film, well, you might find this a bit far-fetched, but it's all about an art college that is suddenly closing.
Oh,
And
where did you get the concept there?
You know, it must, I don't know, a bad dream one night. And believe it or not, Stu, you may find this hard to believe, but there were military barracks on that campus.
Precognition.
That at one point had been used to,
Yes.
maintain, the scientists up in Los Alamos,
Yep.
for health reasons. And
The filming of Manhattan was part of a location set before it burned down.
Exactly. So as you know, there's a fire. And there happens to be a fire in this story as well. Only this one kind of releases some radioactive material that may have been remaining since the 1940s.
And who's to say it wasn't in reality?
Who's to say? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you never know.
So radioactivity.
Yeah.
What,
So
what begets that?
Well, and then we have a little, I guess, a little zombie outbreak. As though it wasn't bad enough that the school is facing closure.
Right.
Now we have the zombie outbreak coinciding with the very last night of the school when the film students are about to present their zombie-themed films at the end of the semester jury show. So a real crossover, if you will, between kind of life imitating art.
A nexus of all things coming together.
It pretty much is. It is. We were kind of hard-pressed as to how to describe it. It took months to make a trailer that would capture the kind
essence,
of the essence, the madcap nature of it.
Was it filmed on location?
Completely.
Absolutely. How many students and or faculty were involved with the production of this?
Production, so
We had about 16 of our SFUAD students
Nice.
that were helming it. We ended up having to hire outside crews, and
Good.
most of them were students that I knew from SFCC.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it was a
Yeah.
All of our
really cool
roots.
experience. I mean, it was like not only could my
Yeah.
current students come and participate, but also those that I'd had from a few years prior.
And-
So there really was a family unit that was established. One of our adjunct faculty members, Eb Latimer,
Oh,
a
yes.
distinguished actor in his
Absolutely.
own right. He ended up playing one of our leads. And then, of course, we had outsiders. Well, not outsiders, but people from the community
Yes.
who weren't directly involved with SFUAD. Our other lead actor, J.D. Garfield. Another fine actor here in Santa Fe.
my goodness.
Those are my two leads. Wow, I couldn't have asked for finer performers.
We've talked all around this project. What's the title?
Final Cutz. And that's spelled with a Z for zombie. So C-U-T-Z.
It's like a triple entendre there. Is it? Final Cutz, that's a film reference. Final
Right.
Cutz, it's deep. And then the Z with the zombie.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the film. Tell us about the making of the film.
Well, I mean, let's see. So, Liam, you shot everything last summer.
Last
the
summer?
summer of 2017.
Okay.
So I came involved this last spring, the last semester, at Santa Fe University of Art and Design. I had a post-production class, and I had 6 editors who were basically assistant editors. And
Yes.
so the whole semester, each student had a section of the film that they were cutting.
Oh, cool.
And so at the end of the semester, I brought it all together and we presented it as a rough cut because we were still working on the film to get it completed by then. So that was our final showcase to show the rough cut of Final Cutz. So it was good. Yeah, it's been a long process. We're still in post-production.
So you have plenty of
Yeah.
footage. You had a rough cuts by the end of that semester,
Yeah.
but then you have continued to work on it.
Right.
Yeah,
Fine-tuning
yeah.
it. We actually spent a period of time out in Los Angeles working on the sound mix.
Yeah.
A friend of mine is a professional mixer who will remain nameless. And,
Or soundless.
Or soundless. So really bringing in some high production values, if you will. And
It
we don't
sounds
want to
really nice.
we don't want to let the film drop at this point, which is
No.
why we're
No,
looking
we're
for that
almost
little
there.
extra help.
Push, yeah.
to get
Okay,
the-
so this is a shameless promotion
Promotion,
for
yes.
financial backing.
Yes.
Alas.
We need some, would you call them executive producers?
Yeah, that would be
perhaps?
great.
And there's room endlessly on the credits for that.
There
right?
is
Yes.
endless room on the credits to
Yes.
appreciate anybody's generosity.
We have a
Yeah.
few minutes. How can listeners get involved if the listeners are aware of somebody who just has a lot of money and wants to throw it into film production? How can they reach you both?
Well, I would say if for nothing else, why don't we ask people if they'd be kind enough to check out our main site, which is
Oh, that's
Final
good.
Cutz, spelled with a Z, finalcutsthemovie.com. If you go there, it'll give you a link to our Indiegogo page, but I think more importantly, it'll give you a taste of the film itself. We have a trailer.
Oh,
that
good.
is so
That's
yes,
not- yeah.
That's
and I
the
think that's
tease.
probably going to say more than we possibly
Right,
could.
exactly.
And you see this headed for film festivals, possible theatrical release?
Oh, definitely.
That would be wonderful.
And are some, if not a lot, of the students that were involved with it still here in our community? Have they dispersed?
A number of them have dispersed. We do have a few that are still committed to the project
Yeah.
and giving of their time and working on it, which is wonderful. So, and even those that have moved away, they've been giving us Skype interviews that we've been using on our site.
Oh, nice.
So we are
Yeah.
in touch with everybody, and this has from the get-go been a collaborative experience, a labor of love, if you will. And actually, it was an attempt to use cinema as a form of catharsis to help us get over the tragedy of the closing of the school.
The death of the school and rising from the ashes.
Exactly, and we did. We all rose above our situation, came together as a family, created this beautiful work of art, and now we're sending it out into the world, and I'm hoping there are going to be others as crazy, shall we say, as us.
Right.
New zombies, baby zombies. Tell the listeners how individually you can be reached and what are you doing now as we segue onto other projects.
What am I
Shelene?
doing now? I'm working on Final Cuts.
You're still very involved.
Yeah.
I'm afraid
no,
so.
we
3
are.
days a week, we're still
Right.
getting
Goodness.
together. Even though
Yeah.
we've submitted it to
Dedication.
festivals, we're still fine-tuning it. We're hoping by the end of this month.
Yeah, that
October
it'll be
31st,
finished.
perfect day. Halloween,
Yeah,
why
I know,
not?
Right.
How about live theater, Liam? You involved?
I've been away from it for so long, Stu, and I'm desperate to get back in. And so
and
now
so
maybe
much
with the
going on.
closure.
Yeah.
And I hope that your teaching days are not over, but will just
I hope not.
transforming into other things.
Yeah.
Do you teach private lessons by any chance?
I'm thinking about opening a film salon of some sort. And if that's
Great
nothing more
idea.
than maybe inviting you over to my house
I'll be there.
once a week, and then another person's, get a few of us together, let's talk about that.
How can listeners get in touch with you individually? Can they follow you on Facebook? Follow your careers?
I Shelene Bridge, Shelene Bridge. I'm on Facebook. My website is shelenebridge.com. Also, Final Cutz is on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. All that great stuff.
Liam?
I cannot be reached at all. I pretty much live under a rock. But go to the Facebook homepage for Final Cutz.
That's a
I'll
good
check
idea.
those messages.
And contact my producer because Linda knows how to get
Yes.
everybody. Folks, thanks for listening. This has been a great fun to see Liam Lockhart again and Shelene Bridge again. My great admiration to you both. I want to thank my producer, Linda McDill, my sound engineer, Sean Conlon, and I want to thank KSFR. We're going to go into our regular fund drive, so we will, I think, be live next week. So listen to KSFR, donate often, as you should vote often. And we'll say that you should go out and make films in New Mexico or see a great film like Final Cutz whenever you get a chance. And then we'll see you next week on the radio. Thanks for listening.